Next, we've got a LinkedIn post that I saw from Kate O'Neill. She closes out, quote, "Unpopular opinion, nobody needs feedback. What we actually need is a shared context for how we're working together. This post breaks feedback into certain pieces, saying without patterns, it's just noise. Without psychological safety, it's surveillance. Without shared goals, it reflects the giver's preferences more than the quality of the work. Her argument is that feedback works only when it sits inside a clearly defined operating system for the team. What we're trying to do, how we make decisions, and what quote unquote good looks like. Otherwise, you get one-off judgments, performance whiplash, and a lot of confusion dressed up as quote unquote development. For communicators, that's a nudge to look more upstream. Maybe the problem isn't that employees can't handle feedback, but that nobody has put it in the work to create that shared context at all. For you, Jenni, if you take Kate's view, what's the first thing leaders and comms teams should fix? The way they give feedback or the way they define and communicate the context?
The way they define and communicate context. So I agree with Kate, and it's reminded me of my best friend, Advita Patel, who was on stage recently saying, I don't want people's feedback. And I'm kind of here for that. Like, I don't want feedback from everybody, but I want feedback from the people who are doing the work and that I respect and listen to. I'm not a fan of people that just come over and just give you feedback. What this has also reminded me of is the book Inclusion on Purpose, which is by Rashika, and her surname escapes me, but she has a great framework in there called SBI, which is Situation, Behavior, Impact for Giving Feedback. I'll pop it in a LinkedIn post from us on Frequency after this episode's out, because it's a really good framework. And that is the context. If you don't have that, there's so much bias and stuff that can come into that feedback that isn't just or fair, unless you can talk about the impact that that person's behavior or the work has had. It's just opinion. And that's horrible. And I know so many people that experience that. I know so many people of all walks of life that experience feedback of things like, well, you just, we don't think you had enough gravitas to do this. Like, what? Like, what does that even mean? Like, and I can't do anything with that. Like, what's the outcome you want by giving me the feedback? So I'm absolutely in the context first, and then the way you give the feedback needs to be discussed. Are you the same or other way around?
Well, I'm going to give a little plug for Ecology's mentorship program. We've launched that for 2026, so people want to be part of a mentorship program. The reason I share that is I was a mentor in a previous year to a mentee, and she really struggled with some feedback that a leader gave her. And somebody said this to me, they're like, sometimes feedback is just feedback. So if you've ever had to hold a microphone too close to a speaker and you get that noise, that's feedback. And it's not good and it's not helpful. And I think sometimes a lot of this feedback it's from sources you don't want in context that is irrelevant to you. I've had to be clear with some people who I know who like to give feedback, especially like after an event that I've hosted or something. I'll say like, I already know what I could have done better. I already know what I did well. You don't need to tell me anything. Next week, give me some ideas on new things we can do. I don't need it right away. Because I think sometimes it's the timing is perhaps the most important part of that context. Sometimes it's way too soon. Sometimes it's way too late. It's finding that balance, a bit of a Goldilocks thing here, about finding that sweet spot right in the middle.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's reminded me of when I did Comms Reboot in Toronto in the summer, and I said to you, I'm going to ask for your feedback, and I'm probably going to do it on the day, and I'm okay with that. So just let me know. I remember us having a little chat over some drinks, because a bit like you, I know what I could have done better, but I also wanted your feedback. Like, you're somebody who I want to hear from and respect and want to get that. Whereas I think if somebody else had come over and just said, oh, do you know, this was not great, I'd be like, jog on. Not interested in what you got to say.
Well, I think that's where it's almost like there's consent that I think is good here, that to ask people, do you want feedback on this? And if they say no, then don't give it. Yeah. If they say yes, then that's your permission to provide it. The unsolicited part, I think, is often the problem.
I thought there's a whole meme now around consent for feedback that we can do.
There is.
I can see your brain is already going there.
Yeah.